Hi, this is the video lesson for our Grammar 1 class today. We're going to talk about comparative adjectives, comparative and superlative adjectives. Adverbs. Last lesson we talked about comparative and superlative adjectives. The same sorts of rules that we studied then for making comparative and superlative adjectives work for adverbs too. So let's remember for a moment what an adverb does. We talked about this last time. An adverb modifies a verb. It tells us how, when, or where an action, a verb, happened, right? So if I say, I ran down the street, I want to say how fast I ran. I ran quickly. Quickly is an adverb telling how I ran. So it's an adverb. All right, now if we're comparing actions, then we have to follow certain rules about how we form the comparative. So just like for adjectives, if we're comparing two things, one thing to another, there's a certain rule. If we're comparing one thing to many other things, there's a certain rule. So let's see what those are, okay? So it's very similar. The rules are very similar to those that we learned for adjectives, but there are some slight differences. So take a look at the first section here. With adverbs that end in ly, and remember we found that the great majority of adverbs end in ly, we use more to form the comparative. That means we're comparing two things. And we use most to form the superlative. That means we're comparing more than two things. All right? So, for example, quietly. He slept quietly. So, quietly is telling us how he slept. Slept is a verb, so quietly is an adverb. If I want to compare him to one other person, he slept more quietly than his brother. Comparing two. If I'm comparing him to a room full of people, he slept the most quietly of everyone. Okay? Or slowly. So I drive slowly. Slowly is telling how I drive. Drive is a verb. So slowly is an adverb. So if I'm comparing to one other person, so I'm comparing two people, right? I drive more slowly than my friend. But if I'm comparing myself to a lot of other people, I drive the most slowly of everyone here. Okay? So we add more or most depending on if we're comparing two things or more than two things. All right? Now, some adverbs don't end in ly, and they're short, generally one syllable adverbs like hard or fast or late. So they don't end in ly, so we're not going to use more or most. We're going to do what we did for the adjectives. We're going to add er or est. Remember, that was the rule for one syllable adjectives. So if I say the bread was hard already, it was hard. If I'm comparing two pieces of bread or two loaves of bread, this loaf was harder. No, never mind, that's adjectives. So she ran hard. She ran hard. So she was tired, right? She ran harder than her friend. So harder tells us how she ran. Ran is a verb. So harder is an adverb then, right? She ran the hardest of anyone. Okay, comparing her to more than one other person. Fast. So the ferret moved fast. How did he move? Move is a verb. Fast is telling us how he moved. So fast is an adverb here, right? So if I'm comparing him to another ferret, he ran faster than the other ferret. Or if I'm comparing him to a bunch of ferrets, he ran the fastest of all the ferrets. Same was late. The bell rang late. Rang is a verb. It's an action. How did it ring? Late. So then the bell rang later today than yesterday. So comparing 2 days. The bell rang the latest of all the days of the week, right? Comparing the bell to a bunch of other. All right, now, just like verbs and adjectives, some adverbs are irregular. Ir means not, so irregular means not regular. So if by irregular, we mean that it doesn't follow the rules of being made comparative or superlative. It doesn't follow the normal way that we do it. So, for example, the adverb badly. She sang badly. Sing is a verb. How did she sing? Badly, right? But I don't say she sang more badly or she sang the most badly. I say she sang worse than the other singer, or she sang the worst of all the singers. So instead of badly, more badly, and most badly, we have badly, worse, and worst. Doesn't follow the normal rules of how we make it comparative or superlative. It's irregular. Or little. Remember we talked about little. If we mean little in size, that's one thing. But if we mean little in amount, I have only a little money, right? I don't say I have more little money or littler money than you. I say I have less money. And then I have the least money of anyone. No, sorry, those are all adjectives. Let's see if I can think of one that's an adverb. So, she made only a little sound. So she made, no, that's still an adjective. Never mind. All right. I can't think of an example. Anyway, look at the list. Sorry. Let's look at some examples here. Or actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video. We'll look at some examples on the next video. Okay? I'll see if I can come up with a good example for little in the meantime. All right.